Hey notaries, Christian here with a new video, and we've got to talk about what do you do when the signer doesn't match their ID. Imagine you are across from a female signer with rainbow colored hair like Tekashi 69's. However, the signer looks nothing like the photo of the middle-aged brunette, colored haired woman on her ID. Is this a cry for attention, maybe a midlife crisis, or could it possibly be fraud? Or what about an individual who had no facial hair before but now has a full-blown beard? The most important duty of a notary is to verify the identity of the signer, and the fact that your signer doesn't resemble their ID photo certainly raises a red flag, but it doesn't mean that the signer is an imposter. While a visual match between the ID photo and the person present is preferable, the challenge arises when the match is not so obvious. A lack of absolute visual match is not necessarily a reason to reject the ID, however. Here are some guidelines to keep in mind when faced with this challenge. Don't rely solely on variable physical traits. It's safe to say a person's appearance changes from time to time. Features such as hair, style, or color, weight, facial hair, and whether the person wears contacts or eyeglasses are all subject to change. In states with varying driver's license terms and renewal policies, the ID photo may be 10, 15, or 20 years old. For instance, Arizona only requires a new photo every 12 years, one of the longest terms in the nation. Even when someone renews their driver's license, many states do not require them to get a new photo. For example, I renewed my driver's license online, and hence I still have my photo from the age of 18 on it, and yes, I was a lot skinnier back then. There's times when I'm going, 21 plus events or venues, and they look at my ID and they look at me again, then they look back at my ID. And sometimes every once in a while I get a comment like, yeah, you were a lot thinner back then. So yeah, I mean, that's just, there you go. There's one example right there. I'm one of those people that if I were to hand the notary my ID card, I definitely do look different. Probably like 40 pounds heavier than I was before. All right, anyways, so when examining the ID, consider the following. Look at the birth date to see if the signer appears to be the appropriate age. Look at fixed traits such as ear shape and placement, jaw or chin shape, eye shape, or distance between facial features. Look at the person's general physical description, the height, the weight, color of the eyes or hair, because height and weight, well, the weight that will change, but the height definitely, after a certain age, we're most likely going to stay the same height. If a single element is different but the other information on the ID, the signature, the height, is reasonably accurate, take that into account when deciding whether to accept the ID. Let's look beyond physical evidence of identity. As part of your process, ask the signer basic questions about the information on the ID. What is their zip code? What is their birth date or astrological sign? What is the number of their street address? You should also observe their behavior. Are they trying to rush you or spontaneously provide justification as to why their signature or appearance doesn't match? So definitely just observe their behavior. And all of this, of course, is this is all extra. I mean, this is aside from the typical notary process. I usually don't ask what's your astrological sign, but if I guess if I was suspicious, this is a perfect question to ask, right? What is your birthday, or what's your astrological sign? I think the astrological sign would definitely get them thinking, because for example, me, I barely know I know mine. I'm a Pisces, but I don't know what the astrological sign for March is, or the end of March, because I think Pisces it goes into March, but I don't know the end of March. I don't know what the astrological sign is for that, or April or May. So if that wasn't my actual birthday, if I had a fake ID with a birth date in May, and you said, hey, what's your astrological sign? I'd be like Taurus or something. I don't know, right? And most likely I'd be wrong. So let's ask for another ID. California has a very specific list of acceptable forms of identification. It should also be noted that in California, a notary cannot mix and match IDs. Using the photo from one ID and the physical description from another, that's not allowed. A single ID must meet all the requirements. Also, the use of a credible identifying witness is not an option in California when a person's ID doesn't check out, because the witness must swear that the signer does not have an ID listed in statute. So if that part didn't make sense, let me go ahead and go over that. In the state of California, so basically, when we have a credible identifying witness in California, that witness is swearing that the signer doesn't have an ID on them, and they have absolutely no way of being able to retrieve that ID. But they're also saying that they know the person, and they know you as well. But what this is saying right here is that even if the witness there is a credible witness saying, hey, this ID right here is good, that still doesn't count, because there can't be any ID when you use a credible witness. There could be no form of ID. So yeah, you still can't use a credible witness when there's an ID that just doesn't match out. So I hope that made sense. All right, so I'm gonna read that again. A single ID must meet all requirements. Also, the use of a credible identifying witness is not an option in California when a person's ID doesn't check out, because the witness must swear that the signer does not have an ID listed. All right, so please make a reasonable judgment. If you believe a signer is not an imposter, then you could proceed with the notarization. However, if you are not convinced the signer is who they say they are, you can and should refuse to go forward. That does it for this video, guys. I'm a little foggy, I think, right now. I feel weaker. I don't know. It's weird. All right, guys. So just go ahead. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave some comments down below. I'll answer your questions, or reach me at info@mynotaryclass.com, or visit the website. All right, guys. Thank you. You guys have a great one.